Black Label and Ian like created this incredible track, and they sent it over to me, and it was on my way to the dentist, and I was like, let me hear this, and immediately it was like, na 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 na, and then you can hear me. I have it in my voice memo because like I'm singing like I'm actually singing that, so it came out on my way to dentist.
Okay, so noted, dentist.
EJAE was in a car on her way to the dentist when it happened. Out of nowhere, a melody and the words to match spilled into her mind, fully formed like they had been waiting for her all along. She immediately recorded a voice memo on her phone and sang it before the spark vanished. That song would become Golden. And here's the wild part. This isn't the first time something like this has happened in music history. Paul McCartney once said that a song came to him in a dream. He woke up and literally rolled out of bed and sat at his piano, which was right next to his bed, and wrote it down before it disappeared. The song? That song became Yesterday, one of the most iconic songs of all time. We don't know how this kind of magic strikes, but once in a blue moon, we have the privilege of witnessing it. A lightning bolt moment that changes music forever. EJAE writing Golden was one of those moments. Golden wasn't just another soundtrack single. The moment it dropped on the 4th of July 2025, it exploded. It peaked at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, making history as the first K-pop girl group to top that chart, and the first girl group of any genre to do it since Destiny's Child more than 2 decades ago. And it didn't stop there. The song dominated globally. #1 in South Korea, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, and climbing in dozens of other countries. On Spotify, it sits at the very top of the Hot 50 USA chart. And get this, Netflix confirmed they've officially submitted Golden for Oscar consideration as Best Original Song. If it gets the nod, EJAE would be only the second songwriter of Korean descent ever nominated. Think about that for a second. A song written in a car on the way to the dentist is now breaking records, rewriting history, and even knocking on the doors of the Academy Awards. But Golden didn't just appear out of thin air. There's so much more behind this crazy story. Golden wasn't just a random single. It was the heartbeat of Netflix's surprise juggernaut, K-pop Demon Hunters. Released on June 20th, 2025, the animated musical didn't just do well. It shattered records. It quickly became the most watched original animated film in Netflix history, and it's now their most popular English movie of all time. The story itself? Totally unique. It follows a fictional K-pop girl group called Huntrix, made up of 3 idols named Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, who don't just perform on stage. They use music as a literal weapon to battle supernatural demons. On the surface, it's flashy, fun, and full of stunning music numbers. But underneath, it's about identity, pressure, and empowerment. The same struggles real K-pop idols face behind the glitz and glam. And that's exactly why Golden hit so hard. It wasn't just a catchy track. It was tied to a story millions of people instantly connected with. But here's a question. How did EJAE, someone outside the Hollywood machine, land in the middle of this record-breaking phenomenon? Believe it or not, EJAE didn't get this gig through some big audition or Hollywood contract. She got in the old-fashioned way, literally, through a friend of a friend of a friend. K-pop Demon Hunters is the creation of visionary co-director Maggie Kang, who started working on the project in 2018 under a development deal with Sony Pictures Animation. She was developing the project with her creative partner and husband, Rad Seacrest. Rad Seacrest is also an animator and was working on an animated series with DreamWorks called KPop and the Age of Wonder Beasts. While developing K-pop Demon Hunters, they realized they needed a K-pop songwriter to join them. Since they didn't know anyone, Rad asked Daniel Rojas, who was the composer for the KPop series and was working with both Maggie and Rad on K-pop Demon Hunters. And Daniel just happened to have the perfect friend in New York, a songwriter who had already been penning tracks for big K-pop acts. Her name? EJAE. One introduction later, and suddenly EJAE was inside one of the most ambitious animation projects in years. At first, EJAE was only supposed to send in demo vocals and rough drafts of songs, just to give the team a feel for how the music might sound within the context of the overall story. But the moment they heard her, they knew she was special. Not only did she stay on as a songwriter, she was asked to be the official singing voice of Rumi, the lead character. Maggie Kang would later reveal that EJAE was the soul of Huntrix, and her early demos were a big reason why Sony greenlit the film in the first place. But EJAE wasn't the only one shaping Golden. A whole powerhouse of talent was about to enter the picture. By the time Golden came together, it wasn't just EJAE in the studio anymore. The film had pulled in a small army of talent, and the lineup was wild. On the non-K-pop side, you had Ian Eisendrath, the executive music producer, making sure every single note matched the director's vision. Then there was Mark Sonnenblick, an Emmy-nominated composer and songwriter with a background in musicals in both film and theater. And for the voices of Mira and Zoe, that's where Korean-American artists Audrey Nuna and Ray Ami stepped in. They can sing and rap in both English and Korean and are known for their genre-bending styles. And then there were the heavy hitters on the K-pop side. Teddy Park is a producer who has worked with some of the biggest names in K-pop and is the co-founder of the Black Label, which started as an in-house record label under YG Entertainment. IDO is not a person. It's the team name for 3 producers who work for Teddy Park at the Black Label. In this photo, the IDO team is the back row. From left to right, the producers go by the names Yuhan, NHD, and Jun. 24 is the stage name for another producer who works for Teddy Park at the Black Label. As mentioned before, in addition to her role as songwriter, EJAE is also the singing voice for Rumi. It was the perfect storm. Western producers and composers with backgrounds in musicals, rising Korean-American stars, and authentic K-pop producers all in the same room. But even with all that star power, everyone kept circling back to EJAE. Her lyrics, her voice, her story. She wasn't just writing songs for the characters, she was pouring her own life into them. And once you know her backstory, it makes sense why her words hit so much harder. To really understand why Golden cuts so deep, you have to know EJAE's past. Before she was writing Billboard hits, she was chasing a very different dream. Born in Seoul, South Korea, she was just 11 years old when she entered the grueling idol trainee system under SM Entertainment, one of the biggest labels in K-pop. For over a decade, she trained, practiced, and waited for her big break. Year after year, she was told to keep pushing, to wait just a little longer. And then one day, the dream collapsed. SM cut her loose with a crushing verdict. She was now too old to debut. Imagine that. A childhood sacrificed endless hours of training and then told you've expired before even getting a chance to begin. It broke her. But EJAE didn't walk away. Music was too much a part of her. By chance, she met songwriter Andrew Choi, who pulled her into an SM songwriting camp. There, she wrote the lyrics to what would become Red Velvet's Psycho, a song that turned into one of their biggest hits. Overnight, EJAE went from failed idol trainee to in-demand songwriter, penning tracks for some of the biggest names in K-pop. But the truth? That rejection never left her. It lingered like a scar, fueling insecurities and quiet battles with her own mental health. Outwardly, she was successful. Inside, she was still carrying the weight of being told she wasn't good enough. And when the assignment for Golden landed in her hands, those scars came rushing back in ways she didn't expect. When EJAE got the task to write the song that would become Golden, the directors instructed her to write an I Want song with a gold theme and with high notes. In musicals, an I Want song is a song that supplies the desire and motivation for the main character. For example, Over the Rainbow, sung by Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, where she dreams of going somewhere wonderful and leaving her troubles far behind. Somewhere over the rainbow. The gold theme requirement was because in the movie, Huntrix was trying to create a golden barrier to keep the demons out of the human world. And the high notes requirement was because in the movie, the high notes stir the soul, which brings fans together, which is the secret power behind that golden barrier. Ian Eisendrath and the producers at the Black Label laid down a track to meet those requirements, and it was EJAE's job to find the melody and lyrics to bring that track to life. She was listening to the track on her phone while in a car on her way to the dentist when lightning struck. Out of nowhere, the melody and words came flooding out all at once. It was so fast, so overwhelming, that she immediately recorded a voice memo on her phone before the spark could vanish. She didn't plan it, she didn't labor over it. The song just poured out of her like it had been waiting in her subconscious the whole time. Divine inspiration? Maybe. Either way, it was raw, unfiltered genius. Later, she polished the lyrics with her co-writer Mark Sonnenblick to make sure the song fit into the movie's narrative. And just like that, Golden was born. But once the rush faded and EJ looked back at what she had written, she realized something chilling. These weren't just lyrics for some fictional character. They were her own buried emotions, resurfacing in ways she hadn't even admitted to herself. When it came time to record the demo, EJ froze. The words staring back at her weren't just lines for Rumi, the character. They were her own story, written without her even realizing it.
Or is there one where like emotionally you're just like, ooh, this is a hard one for me to always sing?
Golden's a hard song. It really is a hard song. Because it also is incredibly emotional. When I wrote the song with, when I was recording the demo, I did cry while singing. Because I was going through a hard time, so it was like, yeah, it was a hard song just to sing it, especially the bridge, because I related to the character so much, and I've known the character for so long. But yeah, that would be a really hard song.
You can feel your heart in that song. I just wanted you to know that for sure. I cry when I sing it.
The opening hit like a confession. I was a ghost, I was alone, in the dark road ahead.
I was a ghost, I was alone.
Was that really Rumi's voice? Or was that EJ reliving the years she spent training, invisible and lonely, only to be tossed aside as if she never mattered? Line after line cut deeper. Given the throne, I didn't know how to believe I was the queen that I meant to be.
Given the throne, I didn't know how to believe I was the queen that I meant to be.
On paper, it's about a fictional heroine learning to step into her power. But for EJ, it was the sting of being told she was too old, finally fighting back. She tried to sing through it, but instead, the tears came. She broke down in the studio, unable to even get the demo out. How could she? The lyrics weren't just personal. They were too raw. They were her repressed traumas screaming to be heard. And as she sat there, quietly reflecting on what she had written, she also realized something else. This wasn't just a pop song anymore. It was about healing. Once EJ worked her way through the pain and actually listened to the lyrics, something shifted. The words weren't just pulling her back into the past. They were pushing her forward. We dreaming hard. We came so far. Now I believe. We're going up. It's our moment.
We're going up, it's our moment.
I'm done hiding. Now I'm shining. Like I'm born to be.
I'm done hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be.
Our time. No fears, no lies. That's who we're born to be.
Our time, no fears, no lies. That's who we're born to be.
On screen, it was Rumi finding her voice. But off-screen, it was EJ reclaiming her own. The song that had cracked her open became the exact song she needed to hear, a manifestation anthem. One that told her she was enough, scars and all. And that's why Golden feels different. It's not just catchy, it's cathartic. Listeners don't just hear Rumi's journey. They hear their own struggles mirrored back at them. Everyone knows what it's like to feel small, invisible, or trapped in expectations. Golden flips that pain into a promise that you can break free, that you can shine anyway. For EJ, writing Golden was an emotional breakdown that turned into a breakthrough. By trying to write an I want song for Rumi, her subconscious wrote an I want song for EJ. For millions of fans, listening to it became the same thing, a reminder that even the deepest wounds can turn into something powerful. And that's the secret behind the magic of Golden. It wasn't just written to top charts. It was written to heal. The ancient Greeks believed that creativity came from the divine muses, unseen forces that whispered inspiration into the ears of artists. Maybe that's what happened in EJ's car that day on the way to the dentist. Or maybe it was something even deeper. Years of pain, rejection, and perseverance boiling over into one perfect moment of truth. Because that's the real power of Golden. It wasn't born from a studio formula or a marketing plan. It came from a songwriter's scars. And by transforming her own heartbreak into music, EJ created an anthem that speaks to anyone who's ever felt invisible, broken, or overlooked. What started as a private voice memo has become a global phenomenon, topping charts, breaking records, and even reaching for Oscar Gold. But beyond the accolades, Golden is a reminder of something much bigger. Through music, our deepest wounds have the power to heal others and ourselves.